Welcome back. This morning, the defense began delivering its closing arguments in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. One person following this trial very closely is legal affairs journalist Meghann Cuniff. She joins us now live. Always good to have you in Detroit. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing great. Listen, this story has captivated headlines. We knew this was going to go down this way, though. Just every salacious detail they could fit in. We've certainly heard all of it. Probably, well, we know most of it, though. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Can you catch us up to where we are now?
Yes, this is the final throes. Mark Agnifilo has been with Diddy from the very beginning of this case, and he's doing the closing argument today for the defense, and he actually presented this to the jury as a modern American love story. He described Cassie and Diddy's relationship as that, and of course, this is the relationship that gave us the video of him assaulting her in the hallway of the Los Angeles hotel. So some reporters and other people have been commenting that that was an interesting way of him characterizing this, but it goes into the defense's argument that this is overblown, that this is the government trying to make organized crime out of a toxic relationship.
So the prosecution recently made some changes. Can you explain what they did and why that's important?
Yes, you know, they actually adjusted the jury instructions so that they're not instructing on attempted arson and attempted kidnapping, but it's really kind of insignificant because they are still pursuing arson and kidnapping. So it really streamlined the jury instructions and kind of cleaned up the case, but it did lead to a lot of rumors and misinformation that they had somehow dropped serious charges or weren't pursuing the kidnapping and arson anymore, which is related to a big thing, Kid Cudi. When he testified about his Porsche being burned, that's the arson claim.
Now, there are two courts here that matter. The court where this trial is taking place, but also the court of public opinion. And no matter what you think about Diddy and the kind of person that he is, certainly no one is happy about the fact that he's on video and there's this domestic violence situation. That's very clear. Everyone can see that and draw their own conclusions. But the racketeering case, the kidnapping, is that really what this case is about? The prosecution, of course, is saying yes, but the folks online, if you listen to that, who have been following this case, looking at all of the reporters who are coming out afterwards and saying a day-by-day brief of what's happened, they're not sure that this racketeering case has been proved.
Yes, exactly. That seems to be the charge that people have the most questions about. And it's definitely a loose and aggressive application of the federal racketeering statute by federal prosecutors. But that doesn't mean it's not going to work. Usually you have co-conspirators charged and you see more of an actual organization to the defendants who are charged. But here we have just Sean Combs. But I think prosecutors are hoping that they've established through testimony and the evidence that they presented that his security guards and then his former chief of staff really would serve as his co-conspirators here. And they've emphasized that the co-conspirator roles can change throughout the enterprise. But on the defense side, Combs causing an act or a racketeering act to be done by an employee is not the same as an agreement. They have to have some kind of implicit agreement. It doesn't have to be a formal contract, but the co-conspirator has to be knowingly participating in that. And I think the defense is hoping that that will give jurors an out on convicting him.
You've covered many celebrity trials. For you, what are some of your biggest takeaways? Is there any one moment, or are there any moments where you thought, okay, that's going to have a big impact on this case, a big impact on the jury? I bet they liked that. They did not like that. Was there any particular interview or soundbite, something that you said that's going to have an impact on this case?
I think what's noticeable is just the huge public interest and then kind of the circus atmosphere at the courthouse. I actually just got back from New York City because I wanted to see it all in person. And you've got to line up overnight outside the courthouse if you want any chance of getting in. You know, there's YouTubers out there. There's just so much interest in it, and the ability of the court to try to keep that out of the actual courtroom, I think is interesting. But you can definitely feel the fever pitch as we're getting into jury deliberations.
All right, Meghann Cuniff, we always love to have you on. Do you still have gear that you're selling, your mugs and T-shirts by chance?
I do. I still have a few mugs, a few Meghann the Reporter mugs. It's meghannthereporter.com, so you guys can check that out. I've got some shirts and T-shirts there for you too. But legalaffairsandtrials.com is my main website, and I'm going to have a lot more coverage on there. And we've got some previous coverage of the trial you all can check out.
And are you still waiting for a call for Meghann the Stallion?
Oh, yes. We're, I'm still waiting for the vacation invite, but I'm sure that's coming soon.
We got to make that happen for you. We got to, from one Meghann to another, we got to find a way to make that happen. Always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.